the symbolic meaning of the seasons, and the symbolic meaning of colors. Spring is another transitional season. Spring is a time of phenomenal renewal. The earth reawakens from her slumber, and explodes with new life. In our own lives, spring can be symbolic of starting new projects, sowing new seeds, and coming forth with new ideas. This is also a time to contemplate health and physical well-being, be refreshed, and prepare for your soulful debut. Symbolic meaning of summer, in other words, party, and our host is the sun, whose presence is fierce, and utterly forthright on the scene. Days are longer, and the rays of the sun dissolve all shadows in our lives. No hiding, no secrets, no darkness. Summer is a time of light, loyalty, expression and wholehearted action. To be sure, this season is symbolic of the vitality inherent within every heart. Symbolic meaning of autumn, it's a season of transition, it embodies a culmination, it's nature's last hurrah, before retiring into winter's slumbering mood. This is a hustle, bustle, boogie-down month, as preparations are made. Autumn is symbolic of the activity inspired by the fire, glow and radiance of the changing foliage we see this time of year. This is a time of taking stock of all the bounty and provision we've been afforded. A time for itemizing our blessings and recounting our joys. Symbolic meaning of winter, it's a season governed by the recluse, the hermit. Activity gives way to dormancy. Life is still, indwelling and silent. This is a time of introversion, contemplation and going within. Winter invites us to quiet the mind, still the soul, and crystallize our inner workings. This is a time to ice skate through the winter whites, as a means of gaining purity and clarification. Take your journey hand in hand with nature by knowing the general dates of the equinox and solstices. In this way, you can work inwardly while nature expresses her grand show of transition outwardly. Keep in mind, these dates I'm listing are for the northern hemisphere of the globe. Please also bear in mind the actual dates shift around a little due to leap years. Dates for seasonal equinoxes and solstices: spring, vernal, equinox, around March 20th, summer solstice, around June 24th, fall, autumnal, equinox, around September 22nd, winter solstice, around December 25th. The symbolic meaning of colors, the color red. The color red is the color of energy, passion and action. This color is a warm and positive color associated with our most physical needs and our will to survive. It exudes a strong and powerful masculine energy. Red is energizing. It excites the emotions and motivates us to take action. It signifies a pioneering spirit and leadership qualities, promoting ambition and determination. It is also strong-willed and can give confidence to those who are shy or lacking in willpower. Being the color of physical movement, the color red awakens our physical life force. It is the color of sexuality and can stimulate deeper and more intimate passions in us, such as love and sex on the positive side or revenge and anger on the negative. It is often used to express love, as in Valentine's Day. However, it relates more to sexuality and lust, rather than love. Love is expressed with pink. At its most positive, it can create life with its sexual energy, or use its negative expression of anger and aggression to fuel war and destruction. The color red can stimulate the appetite, often being used in restaurants for this purpose. It also increases craving for food and other stimuli. Being surrounded by too much of the color red can cause us to become irritated, agitated and ultimately angry. Too little and we become cautious, manipulative and fearful. In Eastern cultures such as China, red is the color for good luck. Although times are changing and many Chinese brides now wear white, it is traditionally the color for weddings. In Indian culture, it symbolizes purity and is often used in their wedding gowns. If your favorite color is red, it will reflect in your personality. The personality color red will give you more information on this. If you are thinking of using red in a business application, read about the meanings of colors in business. Positive and negative traits of the color red. Positive keywords include action, energy and speed, attention-getting, assertive and confident, energizing, stimulating, exciting, powerful, passionate, stimulating and driven, courageous and strong, spontaneous and determined. Negative keywords include aggressive and domineering, overbearing, tiring, angry and quick-tempered, ruthless, fearful and intolerant, rebellious and obstinate, resentful, violent and brutal. Red represents energy. It boosts our physical energy levels, increases our heart rate and blood pressure and prompts the release of adrenaline. Action. It is fast-moving and promotes a need for action and movement. Desire. It relates to physical desire in all its forms: sexual, appetite, cravings, passion. It means a passionate belief in an issue or undertaking, including passionate love or passionate hate. Anger is negative passion. Effects of red: stimulating, to the physical senses, the sexual and physical appetite. It stimulates the deeper passions within us, such as sex, love, courage, hatred or revenge. If you have a flagging sex life and would like to introduce more passion into it, introduce some red into the bedroom. The more red, the more passion, but don't overdo it or it will have the opposite effect. Exciting and motivating. It excites our emotions and inspires us to take action. Attention-getting. It demands you to take notice, alerting you to danger. This is why we have red traffic lights and stop signs. It is the universal color for danger. Assertive and aggressive. Drivers of red cars should take note. A small survey I did a few years ago showed that drivers of red cars, including females, said they felt quite aggressive behind the wheel of their red car. The color blue. The color blue is the color of trust and responsibility. This color is one of trust, honesty and loyalty. It is sincere, reserved and quiet, and doesn't like to make a fuss or draw attention. It hates confrontation, and likes to do things in its own way. From a color psychology perspective, blue is reliable and responsible. This color exhibits an inner security and confidence. You can rely on it to take control and do the right thing in difficult times. It has a need for order and direction in its life, including its living and work spaces. This is a color that seeks peace and tranquility above everything else, promoting both physical and mental relaxation. It reduces stress, creating a sense of calmness, relaxation and order. We certainly feel a sense of calm if we lie on our backs and look into a bright blue cloudless sky. It slows the metabolism. The paler the blue, the more freedom we feel. In the meaning of colors, blue relates to one-to-one communication, especially communication using the voice, speaking the truth through verbal self-expression. It is the teacher, the public speaker. The color blue is idealistic, enhancing self-expression and our ability to communicate our needs and wants. It inspires higher ideals. Blue's wisdom comes from its higher level of intelligence, a spiritual perspective. Blue is the color of the spirit, devotion and religious study. It enhances contemplation and prayer. On the other hand, blue's devotion can be to any cause or concept it believes in, including devotion to family or work. Blue is the helper, the rescuer, the friend in need. Its success is defined by the quality and quantity of its relationships. It is a giver, not a taker. It likes to build strong trusting relationships and becomes deeply hurt if that trust is betrayed. Blue is conservative and predictable, a safe and non-threatening color, and the most universally liked color of all. Probably because it is safe and non-threatening. At the same time, blue is persistent and determined to succeed in whichever endeavors it pursues. Change is difficult for blue. It is inflexible, and when faced with a new or different idea, it considers it, analyzes it, thinks it over slowly and then tries to make it fit its own acceptable version of reality. Blue is nostalgic. It is a color that lives in the past, relating everything in the present and the future to experiences in the past. If blue is your favorite color, it will reflect in your personality. The personality color blue will give you more information on this. If you are thinking of using blue in a business application, read about the meaning. Positive and negative traits of the color blue. Positive keywords include loyalty, trust and integrity, tactful, reliability and responsibility, conservatism and perseverance, caring and concern, idealistic and orderly, authority, devotion and contemplation, peaceful and calm. Negative keywords include being rigid, deceitful and spiteful, depressed and sad, too passive, self-righteous, superstitious and emotionally unstable, too conservative and old-fashioned, predictable and weak, unforgiving, aloof and frigid. It can also indicate manipulation, unfaithfulness and being untrustworthy. Blue represents communication. Blue relates to one-to-one verbal communication and self-expression. Peace and calm. The color blue induces calm and peace within us, particularly the deeper shades. Honesty. Blue is the color of truth. Authority. The darker the color blue, the more authority it has. Religion. Blue is the color of devotion and religious study. Wisdom. Blue enhances the wisdom of the intellect. Effects of blue. Conservative. The color blue is a safe color, the most universally liked color of all. Predictable. Blue is not impulsive or spontaneous and it doesn't like to be rushed. Blue needs to analyze and think things through, and to work to a plan. Orderly. Blue needs to have direction and order. Untidiness and unpredictability overwhelms it. Rigid. Blue likes familiarity. It doesn't like change and will stubbornly do things its own way, even if there is a better way. The color green. The color green is the color of balance, harmony and growth. This is the color of balance and harmony. From a color psychology perspective, it is the great balancer of the heart and the emotions, creating equilibrium between the head and the heart. From a meaning of colors perspective, green is also the color of growth, the color of spring, of renewal and rebirth. It renews and restores depleted energy. It is the sanctuary away from the stresses of modern living, restoring us back to a sense of well-being. This is why there is so much of this relaxing color on the earth, and why we need to keep it that way. Green is an emotionally positive color, giving us the ability to love and nurture ourselves and others unconditionally. A natural peacemaker, it must avoid the tendency to become a martyr. It loves to observe, and therefore relates to the counselor, the good listener, the social worker. It loves to contribute to society. It is the charity worker, the good parent and the helpful neighbor. Being a combination of yellow and blue, green encompasses the mental clarity and optimism of yellow with the emotional calm and insight of blue, inspiring hope and a generosity of spirit not available from other colors. This is a color that has a strong sense of right or wrong, inviting good judgment. It sees both sides of the equation, weighs them up, and then usually takes the moral stand in making appropriate decisions. On the negative side, it can be judgmental and overcautious. Green promotes a love of nature, and a love of family, friends, pets and the home. It is the color of the garden lover, the home lover and the good host. It is generous and loves to share, but it also looks for recognition. It is friendly and can keep confidences. This color relates to stability and endurance, giving us persistence and the strength to cope with adversity. Green is the color of prosperity and abundance, of finance and material wealth. It relates to the business world, to real estate and property. Prosperity gives a feeling of safety to green. On the negative, the color green can be possessive and materialistic, with a need to own people and things. If your favorite color is green, it will reflect in your personality. The personality will give you more information on this. If you are thinking of using green in a business application, read about the meanings. Positive and negative traits. Positive keywords include growth and vitality, renewal and restoration, self-reliance, reliability and dependability, being tactful, emotionally balanced and calm, nature lover and family-oriented, practical and down-to-earth, sympathetic, compassionate and nurturing, generous, kind and loyal with a high moral sense, adaptable, encourages social joining of clubs and other groups, a need to belong. Negative keywords include being possessive and materialistic, indifferent and overcautious, envious, selfish, greedy and miserly, devious with money, inconsiderate, inexperienced, a hypochondriac and a do-gooder. Green represents harmony and balance. Green is the great balancer of our mental, emotional and physical energies, which is why there is so much green on our planet. Green is the heart center of the body. Growth, as in nature, green leaves are an indication the plant is still growing. Hope, green is the anticipation of things to come. Effects of green, rejuvenating. The color green revitalizes us when we are physically, mentally or emotionally exhausted. Nurturing, Because of its link with the heart, green urges us to nurture others. Green is also nurturing to us, another reason why it is the most predominant color on Earth. Dependable, agreeable and diplomatic. The color green helps us to see situations clearly from all sides. Possessiveness. Green is a color that encourages us to want to own things and people, to collect and possess. Green encourages materialism. Envy. Green with envy is a common phrase and a negative reaction to the color green. The color orange. The color of adventure and social communication. The color orange radiates warmth and happiness, combining the physical energy and stimulation of red with the cheerfulness of yellow. Orange relates to gut reaction or our gut instincts, as opposed to the physical reaction of red or the mental reaction of yellow. Orange offers emotional strength in difficult times. It helps us to bounce back from disappointments and despair, assisting in recovery from grief. The color psychology of orange is optimistic and uplifting, rejuvenating our spirit. In fact, orange is so optimistic and uplifting that we should all find ways to use it in our everyday life, even if it is just an orange-colored pen that we use. Orange brings spontaneity and a positive outlook on life and is a great color to use during tough economic times, keeping us motivated and helping us to look on the bright side of life. With its enthusiasm for life, the color orange relates to adventure and risk-taking, inspiring physical confidence, competition and independence. Those inspired by orange are always on the go. In relation to the meaning of colors, orange is extroverted and uninhibited, often encouraging exhibitionism or, at the very least, showing off. The color orange relates to social communication, stimulating two-way conversations. A warm and inviting color, it is both physically and mentally stimulating, so it gets people thinking and talking. At the same time, orange is also stimulating to the appetite. If you love having people around the kitchen table, orange will keep them talking and eating for a long time. Many restaurants use pastel versions of orange, such as apricot or peach, or deeper versions such as terracotta, for their decor, as they are subtler than red, yet still increase the appetite and promote conversation and social interaction, which in turn encourages patrons to have a good time and to eat and drink more. The color orange is obviously the worst color to have in the kitchen if you are trying to lose weight. Orange aids in the assimilation of new ideas and frees the spirit of its limitations, giving us the freedom to be ourselves. At the same time, it encourages self-respect and respect of others. Orange is probably the most rejected and underused color of our time. However, young people do respond well to it, as it has a degree of youthful impulsiveness to it. If your favorite color is orange, it will reflect in your personality. The personality will give you more information on this. If you are thinking of using orange in a business application, read about the meanings of colors in business. Positive and negative traits. Positive keywords include sociable, optimistic, enthusiastic, cheerful, self-confident, independent, flamboyant, extroverted and uninhibited, adventurous, the risk-taker, creative flair, warm-hearted, agreeable and informal. Negative keywords include superficial and insincere, dependent, overbearing, self-indulgent, the exhibitionist, pessimistic, inexpensive, unsociable, and overly proud. Orange represents adventure and risk-taking. Orange promotes physical confidence and enthusiasm. Sportsmen and adventure seekers relate well to orange. Social communication and interaction. Orange stimulates two-way conversation between people. In a dining room when entertaining, it stimulates conversation as well as appetite. Friendship, group socializing, parties, the community, wherever people get together to have fun and socialize, orange is a good choice. Divorce. The optimism of the color orange helps people move on. It is forward-thinking and outward-thinking. Effects of orange enthusiasm. Orange is optimistic and extroverted, the color of the uninhibited. Rejuvenation. Orange helps to restore balance to our physical energies. Stimulation. Orange is not as passionate or as excitable as red, but it is stimulating, particularly to the appetite, the worst color to have in the kitchen if you want to lose weight. Courage. Orange helps us to take account of our lives, to face the consequences, to take action and make appropriate changes. and then to move onward and upward. Vitality. Orange has a more balanced energy than red, not as passionate and aggressive, but full of vitality. The color purple and the color violet. The color purple is the color of the imagination and spirituality. This color relates to the imagination and spirituality. It stimulates the imagination and inspires high ideals. It is an introspective color, allowing us to get in touch with our deeper thoughts. The difference between violet and purple is that violet appears in the visible light spectrum, or rainbow, whereas purple is simply a mix of red and blue. Violet has the highest vibration in the visible spectrum. While violet is not quite as intense as purple, its essence is similar. Generally the names are interchangeable and the meaning of the colors is similar. Both contain the energy and strength of red with the spirituality and integrity of blue. This is the union of body and soul, creating a balance between our physical and our spiritual energies. Purple or violet assists those who seek the meaning of life and spiritual fulfillment. It expands our awareness, connecting us to a higher consciousness. For this reason it is associated with transformation of the soul, and the philosophers of the world are often attracted to it. In the meaning of colors, purple and violet represent the future, the imagination and dreams, while spiritually calming the emotions. They inspire and enhance psychic ability and spiritual enlightenment, while, at the same time, keeping us grounded. The color violet relates to the fantasy world, and a need to escape from the practicalities of life. It is the daydreamer escaping from reality. From a color psychology perspective, purple and violet promote harmony of the mind and the emotions, contributing to mental balance and stability, peace of mind, a link between the spiritual and the physical worlds, between thought and activity. Violet and purple support the practice of meditation. The color violet inspires unconditional and selfless love, devoid of ego, encouraging sensitivity and compassion. Violet can be sensitive to all the different forms of pollution in the world today, whether it be air pollution, noise pollution, visual pollution, or the pollution in our food chain. This sensitivity makes violet susceptible to illness and allergies, vulnerable to its everyday surroundings. Violet encourages creative pursuits and seeks inspiration and originality through its creative endeavors. It likes to be unique, individual and independent, not one of the crowd. Artists, musicians, writers, poets and psychics are all inspired by violet and its magic and mystery. Violet is the color of the humanitarian, using its better judgments to do good for others. Combining wisdom and power with sensitivity and humility, violet can achieve a lot for those less fortunate. The color purple is specifically associated with royalty and the nobility, creating an impression of luxury, wealth and extravagance. Purple has power. It has a richness and quality to it that demands respect. Purple is ambitious and self-assured, and the leader. Too much of the color purple can promote or aggravate depression in some. It is one color that should be used extremely carefully and in small amounts by those who are vulnerable to these depressed states. If your favorite color is purple, it will reflect in your personality. The color purple will give you more information on this. If you are thinking of using purple in a business application, read about the meaning of colors in business. Positive and negative traits of purple and violet. Positive keywords include unusual and individual, creative and inventive, psychic and intuitive, humanitarian, selfless and unlimited, mystery, fantasy and the future. Negative keywords include immaturity, being impractical, cynical and aloof, pompous and arrogant, fraudulent and corrupt, delusions of grandeur and the social climber. The color purple and violet represents inspiration. Original and sound ideas are created with violet. Use it when looking for inspiration during brainstorming sessions. Imagination. Violet inspires creativity with intellect. It is also stimulating to dream activity. Individuality. Violet is unconventional, individual and original. It hates to copy anyone else and likes to do its own thing. Spirituality. Violet assists us during prayer and meditation, helping us to get in touch with our deeper subconscious thoughts. Churches often feature violet in their stained glass windows. From a negative perspective, it can relate to the cult follower. Effects of the color purple and violet: empathy, compassion, kindness and a love of humanity are positive qualities of violet. Controlled emotion: violet is passionate, like red, but inclined to display it in private only. Respectable and distinguished: the darker shades of violet particularly are linked to the origins of purple, where it was only available to royalty and the wealthy. Impractical: violet can be impractical, with its head in the clouds rather than having its feet on the ground. It tends to see life as it imagines it, rather than how it is. Immature: violet can be immature, encouraging fantasy and an idealism that is often difficult to achieve in real life. Dignity: violet exudes a quiet, modest form of dignity which is often appealing to others. Cynical: this is a negative side of violet. The color brown: the color of security, protection and material wealth. The color brown is a serious, down-to-earth color signifying stability, structure and support, relating to the protection and support of the family unit, with a keen sense of duty and responsibility. Brown takes its obligations seriously. It encourages a strong need for security and a sense of belonging, with family and friends being of utmost importance. In the meaning of colors, brown is the color of material security and the accumulation of material possessions. The color brown relates to quality in everything: a comfortable home, the best food and drink and loyal companionship. It is a color of physical comfort, simplicity and quality. From a negative perspective, it can also give the impression of cheapness and stinginess in certain circumstances. Brown is friendly and approachable. It is loyal, trustworthy and dependable in a practical and realistic way. In color psychology, brown is honest, genuine and sincere. It relates to the hardworking, the industrious and reliable, with both feet planted firmly on the ground. It is sensual, sensitive and warm, engulfing one in a feeling of calmness and comfort. It is a practical and sensible color which implies common sense. It hides the dirt. The color brown is associated with wholesome, natural and organic produce, and anything related to the great outdoors, agriculture and farming. Brown is a frugal color. It is not associated with frivolity, excess or waste in any form. While it is materialistic, it values quality above all else, and everything in moderation. Some browns can show a degree of sophistication or elegance, depending on other colors associated with brown. For example, brown with a soft white or ivory can appear stylish and classy, although more casual than black with soft white or ivory. Brown suppresses the emotions, creating a safe haven from the stresses of the outside world within which problems can be contemplated and solved. Brown is a color of structure. Although by no means does it encourage perfectionism, rather it encourages orderliness and organization. The color brown gives reassurance. It is quietly confident but never the life of the party. Brown does not seek attention, it prefers to stay in the background, allowing other colors around it to shine. Brown is solid with strength and maturity. It prefers to function in its own safe little world. It is not carefree and spontaneous and doesn't like surprises. It can be considered dull, boring and unexciting by many. In fact, it is one of the least preferred colors in the Western world, along with orange and yellow. Brown is a predominant color on the planet, along with green. Brown is comforting and stabilizing, while green is balancing and rejuvenating, just what we all need to help us deal with the stresses of modern life. The psychological meaning of the color brown can vary slightly depending on the colors which are mixed together to create the brown. Brown can be a combination of black, yellow, orange, red, gray, green, blue, pink and purple, and each of the colors in it will add a variation to the meaning. If your favorite color is brown, it will reflect in your personality. The personality will give you more information on this. If you are thinking of using brown in a business application, read about the meanings. Positive and negative traits of brown. Positive keywords include down-to-earth, wholesome, practical, approachable, friendly, stable, structured, supportive, comforting, reliable, protective, strength, quietly confident, sensual, sensitive, warm, reassured, honest, sincere, quality. Negative keywords include dull, boring, frugal, materialistic, lack of humor, lack of sophistication, predictable, cheap and stingy. Brown represents stability, reassuring and comforting, earthy and contained. Structure: it encourages orderliness and organization. Security: safe and protective, a refuge from the chaos of the outside world and a sense of belonging. Natural and wholesome, related to the earth. Nutrition: health and goodness. The color black: the color black relates to the hidden, the secretive and the unknown, and as a result it creates an air of mystery. It keeps things bottled up inside, hidden from the world. In color psychology, this color gives protection from external emotional stress. It creates a barrier between itself and the outside world, providing comfort while protecting its emotions and feelings, and hiding its vulnerabilities, insecurities and lack of self-confidence. Black is the absorption of all color and the absence of light. Black hides, while white brings to light. What black covers, white uncovers. We all use black at various times to hide from the world around us in one way or another. Some of us use it to hide our weight, others among us use it to hide our feelings, our fears or our insecurities. In color psychology, black means power and control, hanging on to information and things rather than giving out to others. Black is intimidating, unfriendly and unapproachable because of the power it exudes. It can prevent two-way communication because of its intimidation. The salesman wearing all black will make a lot of sales, but no friends. It radiates authority, but creates fear in the process. Black implies self-control and discipline, independence and a strong will, and giving an impression of authority and power. Black absorbs negative energy. It is useful to carry something black with you to protect you from harm and negativity when traveling or when going about your usual daily activities outside your home. People who like black may be conventional, conservative and serious, or they may think of themselves as being sophisticated or very dignified. The color black is often seen as a color of sophistication, as in the little black dress, or the black tie event. Affluent and success-orientated women often choose black as it can give an impression of elegance, sophistication and confidence. Black is often associated with sexiness and seduction, as in the temptress in sexy black lingerie, creating an air of mystery and intrigue. It can also imply submission to another, including a sexual partner, similar to the priest wearing black robes in submission to God. Black is the end, but the end always implies a new beginning. When the light appears, black becomes white, the color of new beginnings. Teenagers often have a psychological need to wear black during the stage of transition from the innocence of childhood to the sophistication of adulthood. It signifies the ending of one part of their life and the beginning of another, allowing them to hide from the world while they discover their own unique identity. It is important they go through this stage, but a worry when it continues on into adult years if they continue to wear black to the exclusion of other colors. Too much black can cause depression and mood swings and create a negative environment. Combined with white only, it can create an argumentative atmosphere. It is best to use some color with black to lighten and brighten its energy. If your favorite color is black, it will reflect in your personality. The personality color black will give you more information on this. If you are thinking of using black in a business application, read about the meanings of colors in business. Positive and negative traits of the color black. Positive keywords include protection and comfort, strong, contained, formal, sophisticated, seductive, mysterious, endings and beginnings. Negative keywords include aloof, depressing and pessimistic, secretive and withholding, conservative and serious, power and control, sadness and negativity. The color black represents mystery. Black is the unknown. It is secretive, keeping a lot buried inside, unwilling to show its real feelings. Power and control. Black is power and control of the self and others. It creates fear and intimidation. Effects of the color black: dignified and sophisticated, as in the little black dress and the formal dinner suit. Aloof, Black sets itself aside from others with its heavy and intense energy. It keeps others at arm's length. Depressing, black can close us to the positive aspects of life, forcing us to look at our disappointments and the black or negative aspects of our life. It can create a fear of the future. Pessimistic, too much black encourages us to look at the negative side of life. The color white, an inherently positive color, is associated with purity, virginity, innocence, light, goodness, heaven, safety, brilliance, illumination, understanding, cleanliness, faith, beginnings, sterility, spirituality, possibility, humility, sincerity, protection, softness, and perfection. The color white can represent a successful beginning. In heraldry, white depicts faith and purity. As the opposite of black, movies, books, print media, and television typically depict the good guy in white and the bad guy in black. The color of snow, white, is often used to represent coolness and simplicity. White's association with cleanliness and sterility is often seen in hospitals, medical centers, and laboratories to communicate safety. The color white is also associated with low-fat foods and dairy products. To the human eye, white is a bright and brilliant color that can cause headaches. In cases of extremely bright light, the color white can even be blinding. Throughout the Western countries, white is the traditional color worn by brides, to signify purity, innocence, and virginity. In Eastern countries, the color white is the color of mourning and funerals. In certain cultures, white is the color of royalty or of religious figures, as angels are typically depicted as wearing white or having a white glow. A white picket fence surrounds a safe and happy home. The color white affects the mind and body by aiding in mental clarity, promoting feelings of fresh beginnings and renewal, assisting in cleansing, clearing obstacles and clutter, and encouraging the purification of thoughts and actions. White gemstones are believed to help create new beginnings, remove prejudice and preconceived notions, to see the innocence in others, and to clear emotional clutter and silence the inner critic.